avenues for growth and personal development for her. Her speech title is, well, before I say her speech title, she's speaking from the Speaking to Entertain manual, speech number 3, which is Make Them Laugh. She prefers that it be labeled humorous. And it's the last speech in her manual. So let's give a welcome to Tatiana. Can I jump to a bigger fishbowl? Tatiana, can I jump to a bigger fishbowl?
When I was growing up, I was the youngest, the scrawniest, and the smallest of the kids that we used to play with. There was my brother, who was a year and a half older. He was short and wide, and which will give you a couple of clues of how we really did not get along. The neighbor girl, Julie, that was our neighbor girl, she was like with Walter, and they were at the top of their class. They were the smart brainiacs, which just seemed to like further that distance between us. And then there was Margaret, Julie's older sister, who was 3 years older than me. And what we used to do in the summertime was that Margaret would invite us down into their basement, and they would play pool. So here as a second grader, I'm like thinking, I'm trying to keep up with the big kids, right? Because everybody wants to be like the big kids. And so I'm trying to keep up with the big kids. We're doing arithmetic, addition and subtraction. And Walter and Julie want to go ahead and do multiplication and division. And I'm thinking like, hey, I'm the little one. I can't keep up with you. So here it was. I feel like I'm already behind the 8 ball, and I can't ever keep up with the big kids. But I'll tell you one thing. I was the first kid out of that whole bunch that left home, that jumped out of an airplane, that lived overseas, that rode a motorcycle, and that moved out to California. And I lived in Russia. All of that. So, can I achieve? Can I go ahead and jump into a bigger fishbowl? You bet I can. So, Madame Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests, can I jump into a bigger fishbowl? The answer is a resounding yes. I can jump into a bigger fishbowl. I can learn how to play with the big kids. Now, one of the first things I thought of was, how do I start to go ahead and figure out, how do I jump into that bigger fishbowl? As a little goldfish, I'm thinking like, okay, I've got to get myself ready to go jump into that bigger fishbowl, right? So I put on my goggles, I put on my little swim fins, so I can go ahead and get that little jump start, and I jump and bloop. Well, excuse me, fish are never designed to have goggles. They're never designed to have little extra swim fins, right? Dump your baggage. That's the first way that I can go ahead and jump into a bigger fishbowl. I have to dump my baggage. So dumping my baggage, sorry, it's the mind talking, right? All right, so dumping your baggage, what does that mean? It means giving up those limiting beliefs, right? Giving up those time-wasting activities. Giving up those old habits that are not really serving you. Then people come along and say, hey, you want to play in the big leagues? You need some goals. Check out your SMART goals. I'm like, SMART goals? Really? Okay, now here we're all a whole bunch of seasoned professionals, and you guys have accomplished a lot. SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. I'm sorry, but SMART goals are really not smart for me. They're a hassle for me. They're a hassle. They're heavy and they're burdensome. I fall asleep with them. I find them stale, like antiseptic. I find them, I find them, just lackluster, and it's a huge effort for me. So SMART goals were just really not that great for me. How could I go ahead and jump into the big leagues if I don't know how to work SMART goals, right? But then my kids taught me something years and years ago. When they were little, and they're 3 years apart, and needless to say, their hands never stayed where their hands were supposed to stay, if you know what I mean. They always went to each other's bodies in indiscreet times when, you know, you're the mom in the store. You know, and so I had to learn how to tell them, and I had to learn, I began with the end result in mind. I wanted these kids to be reasonable, respectable adults. So at that little age, I had to learn how to tell them how to behave properly. Well, meanwhile, when your little 4-year-old decides to go running down the up escalator at Barnes & Noble, there's a mom who has to learn how to deal with a whole new situation. And who's the manager's coming around to look for mom, and mom's trying not to have steam coming out of her ears, right? So we have to figure that out. But eventually those kids learned how to behave properly. One of those days I turned to the back seat because I was like, I am not having these kids going running up and down, screaming up and down these aisles, right? So I turned to the back seat. I pointed that finger at them. And I'm like, you guys will walk properly, keep your hands in your pockets, speak nicely to each other, and do not touch one single thing. Now, needless to say, you know what? Those little boys became angels in that store. The end result in mind. So then, okay, so I'm still trying to jump into the bigger fishbowl. I'm still trying to play with the big boys, right? So, SMART goals don't work for me. But I figured out how to have dumb goals. Has anybody ever heard of dumb goals? No, right? So dumb goals really work for me. They're dream-driven, they're uplifting, they're method-friendly, and they're behavior-based. So now that is a huge thing for me, because I finally found something that I can actually work on. So my dream is to live genuinely, openly, expressively, be present, and live clutter-free in my new Seabridge condo down in Channel Islands. That is inspiring to me. Now, when I happen to be going out and doing my new business, as we all know, it can be a super challenge to be in the sales field. Thinking of those different aspects of that dream are really, truly encouraging and enlightening to me. Now, when you happen to be going, and living clutter-free, that's true. Clutter-free, you have to basically live clutter-free mentally, emotionally, physically, and obviously relationally. Now, physically is a little bit of a difficulty for me because I've got a lot of baggage and clutter left over from years of homeschooling, you know, all those studies that I've done, you know, all that jewelry and clothes and extra stuff that I have left over from my mom. So I'm thinking, how can I move clutter-free into my new place? Eventually when I get it, right? So I'm thinking like, I'll just take what I want to take from that old place and put it in the new place. And then, get this, I'll just torch the apartment. Okay? Unfortunately though, I don't think management's going to really like it. Plus, I don't think I'll be getting my security deposit back. And I definitely cannot leave a forwarding address. So there's a different way to get rid of clutter. So one of the things is to get rid of all that baggage. You have to dump it, right? Get a new mindset. So meanwhile, I'm shooting for that rim of that new fishbowl. I want to jump in that bigger fishbowl. I don't want to play in this little fishbowl anymore, right? So I'm set my sights for the rim of the new fishbowl, just past it, so that I can jump in there and then jump and splash into the bigger fishbowl. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever done skydiving or bungee jumping here, but you know that once you step out into that open air, you are committed, right? And then you just go down for that fall until your feet land on the ground and take that parachute off. So in order to live clutter-free, you have to figure out what is the best method and what's my new behavior going to be. So as I'm jumping for that rim of that bigger fishbowl, and I'm jumping, and then all of a sudden, uh-oh, that limiting belief, that bad behavior, that time waster that I tried to get rid of, happens to like catch my brain, and all I pause for that split second, and what do? Smack, I hit the rim of that fishbowl. Now, not only do I don't just splash back into that little bowl, no, I go and I splash out onto the pavement. If everybody has ever seen a fish out on dry ground, you know it is not a breezy. Right? They keep doing that. Well, part of hitting that rim is not having reacted properly to the right situations. You know, there's that that rejection. There's the people as you're telling them all about your new situation, and they go and they hang up on you. All that kind of stuff. And then all those thoughts float. And all of that stuff goes in your mind. And pretty soon there's this woman down on the ground who's having a conversation with a whole bunch of people I didn't know she even invited to the party. And I'm thinking, that's not much of a party because nobody's laughing down there, right? So, meanwhile, how do you get rid of all that stuff? How do you get rid of the critic? How do you get rid of the judge? How do you get rid of all those people? Well, how do you get into the bigger fishbowl? You learn how to release. You learn how to let go. You learn how to forgive. You learn how to extend peace when really there's no peace left, right? That's how that's how you get rid of feeling like you've been tarred on a freshly paved road. And then as you release all that peace, what happens? The master comes by, picks up the little fish, and dumps it back into the fishbowl. And then you can learn how to jump once again. So this is how I put it all together. I dare myself to jump into that big fishbowl. And I do it by deciding, by acting, by reviewing, repairing that old negative behavior, rinse and repeat, and I do it every day. So I can jump into a new, bigger fishbowl.